Hey guys, tonight we begin with the choking air and sour bread crusts inside an 18th century debtor's jail. So, before you get comfortable, take a moment to like the video and subscribe, but only if you genuinely enjoy what I do here, and let me know in the comments what time it is for you and where you're tuning in from. It's always fascinating to see who's joining us from around the world. Now, dim the lights, maybe turn on a fan for that soft background hum, and let's ease into tonight's journey together. The air in the cell never moves. It hangs low and damp, sticking to your neck and pooling in your lungs like wet linen. You sleep near the wall because it's the only place not entirely covered in mold. Or maybe because it's cold there, and the cold makes your ribs stop aching for a while. The stone is always wet. You've never seen it dry. Every morning your shirt peels away from your back like bark from a drowned tree. Sometimes you look at the stains on the floor and wonder if they're water, or if they're what's left of someone else who once lay there too long. You woke today with your fingers numb, not from sleep, but from stillness. You curl them slowly, feeling the ache return like a weight. There is bread today. One piece. You can smell it before you see it. Someone in the upper tier is tearing it now. The sound dry, brittle, like splitting plaster. It's black at the edges and green in the middle, but no one throws it out. You wait. When it's passed to you, it's only half. The other half fell into the waste pit. You glance down, then eat what remains anyway. The jailer does not speak. He never does. Just opens the slot in the door once a day and slides in whatever the kitchen couldn't serve to soldiers. Sometimes bread, sometimes bones, sometimes a lump of boiled turnip that's more mold than root. Once, someone found a fish head. They kept the eyes to dry in the corner, said they bring luck. You haven't seen that man in days. You share your space with 5 others. One snores, one mutters. One hasn't moved in 2 days. You stopped checking if he breathes. You count blinks instead, yours, just to feel time pass. The window is too small to see the sky. Just a strip of iron with slats that let in the cold, but not the air. You hear horses outside sometimes, and once, music. A lute maybe, or a child humming. It lasted a few seconds before the jail swallowed it. Your feet itch. You don't look. The lice hide in your socks, and you've learned not to pick at them. The last time you bled, it didn't stop for a day. The floor soaked it up. No one asked what happened. They just shuffled further from your corner and took the crust meant for you. The man beside you coughs, a thick, wet sound. You turn your head, but there's no escaping it. He wipes his mouth on his sleeve. The cloth is brown from more than dirt. You think about standing, but you haven't stood today. Your legs might not hold. You decide to wait. Let the blood settle. The bread was soft once long ago. You remember it. The way the crust cracked gently. The way your teeth didn't hurt when you chewed. Now, every bite risks a splinter of grit. Your molars have lines now. You feel them with your tongue. One is loose. You press it gently. It shifts. And still the bread comes. Cold, cracked, faintly alive with green. And you eat, because it's there, because you're still here. Because the slot will open again tomorrow. Maybe. You lie back down, the wall at your spine, the ceiling leaking above, and the sound of chewing never stops. The morning, if it can be called that, begins not with light, but with noise. The shifting of chains, the soft grunt of someone trying to stand, the wet scrape of bare feet against the stone. No one speaks. There's no reason to. Words dried up long ago, left behind with belts and shoes and dignity. You sit up slowly, feeling each joint announce itself. Your knees crack, your shoulders pulse, a cold patch spreads across your lower back from the damp spot where you slept. Someone relieves himself in the corner. There's no curtain, no bucket, just the crack in the floor that leads nowhere. You breathe through your mouth, but the stench lives in both nose and tongue. It never leaves. It's inside you now, like the mold, like the chill, like the faint throb in your gums where your last molar split last week. You touched it this morning. The blood was thick. You wiped it on your sleeve and turned your face to the wall. The boy across from you is young, maybe 12. His eyes are large, but not in the way of innocence. They're wide from starvation, skull pressed close beneath the skin. He's curled around his knees, rocking slightly, whispering something. You can't hear it. He's been doing it for days. No one stops him. He doesn't ask for food anymore. You saw him chew the leather from his bootlaces 2 nights ago. Now he just rocks. Your own belly doesn't rumble anymore. It just pulls inward, tighter each day, trying to swallow itself. The last real hunger you felt was a week ago. After that, it became something else. Not pain, not need. Just pressure, like a hand pressing against your ribs from the inside. You can't tell if you're lighter or just hollow. The cell is darker than yesterday. The clouds must be low. Rain, maybe. You hope not. The leaks multiply each time. There are 8 now. You counted. 1 over your sleeping spot. Another beside the bread slot. The water is brown by the time it reaches the floor. It soaks into your blanket. You wring it out sometimes, hang it over your knees, and pretend the steam is warmth. A man stands. His feet crack against the floor. His body leans heavily on the wall. You don't know his name. You don't know any of their names anymore. Only the sounds they make. The one with the cough. The one who hums at night. The one who mutters about cheese. You wonder if they remember you. If you're the one with the broken tooth, or the one who never sleeps. Or maybe you're just another lump in the dark. A sound. The latch. Everyone turns. The bread slot opens. A hand shoves something through. A cloth. Wrapped. Damp. Someone lunges first, then another. You don't move. It's better that way. Let them fight. Let them bleed. The cloth tears. A slice of bread hits the floor, wet. Footsteps crush it. Then it disappears beneath a palm. A smear of green is left behind. You close your eyes. Not from sadness, not even to rest, just to not look. You breathe in. You cough once. The phlegm rises sharp. You swallow it. There's nothing else. A drop falls from the ceiling onto your lip. You don't wipe it away. There are no clocks, no sun, no count of days, only bread, only breath, only stone. The boy across from you stops rocking. His hands go still. His eyes do not close. You blink. He does not. And still the crusts come. The body was moved at dawn, quietly, without ceremony. The jailer brought 2 men with ropes. They didn't speak, just pointed. The rest of you pressed against the far wall, not from fear, but habit. The boy's limbs had stiffened. One arm bent the wrong way. They wrapped him in burlap, pulled tight, and dragged him through the doorway. The sound of skin against stone was louder than expected. No one looked directly. You watched their feet instead, watched the wet trail they left behind, darker than the floor, and fading quickly. After they left, silence filled the space like smoke. Thick, slow, impossible to move through. Someone muttered a prayer. You couldn't hear the words. You didn't need to. The boy had no family here, no name, just a space now, still warm, and a smell that would last longer than his memory. You adjusted your seat, careful not to sit where he had been. The wall behind you was still damp. You pressed your shoulder to it anyway. The chill sank into your bones and stayed there. You folded your arms, not for warmth, but to keep them from trembling. Your fingers have started to twitch lately, not from cold, from something deeper, like your body no longer trusts itself to remain still. The bread came later than usual, a single slab, scored and split unevenly. The jailer dropped it onto the floor just inside the door. No cloth today, no wrapper, just hard crust on dirt. It rolled once before stopping. No one moved. You all stared. The man nearest reached first. He tore it in half with his teeth. The others descended after. Scraps, crumbs, someone's nail snapped against stone. You didn't move. You knew your part wouldn't come. You watched the smallest piece disappear into a sleeve. Later you crawled to the center and found a flake. Thin, like dried skin. You placed it on your tongue. It melted slowly, tasted of ash and grease. You swallowed without chewing. It sat in your throat for hours, refusing to fall. You drank from the drip near the corner, catching the water in your palm. It tasted of rust, but it helped. The man beside you speaks now, his voice low, hoarse, scraping across the air like wood dragged across stone. He talks about sunlight, not the warmth, just the shape of it, how it used to fall across the floor of his workshop. He describes it as a line of gold that made dust look like snow. You listen, not because you care, but because the sound fills the gaps. You press your thumb into the stone at your side. The wall is soft in places, like the skin of fruit gone too long without light. Your thumb leaves a mark, faint. But there, you do it again. Not for meaning, just to prove you can. You make 7 marks before stopping. The stone is warm beneath your nail. Your mouth has stopped bleeding. The tooth is gone now. You don't remember when. You spat something out 2 nights ago, felt relief, then forgot. You run your tongue across the gap. It's smooth. Your jaw no longer clicks, just aches. The air tonight is heavy. Too many bodies, too little space. You breathe shallow. Someone wheezes. Someone else weeps softly, not from sadness, just from the pressure behind their eyes. You stare at the ceiling, watch the black mold shift in the breeze. One patch looks like a face. You blink. It doesn't change. The boy's space is still empty. No one lies there, not yet. But they will. You all will. The stone waits for each of you, and the bread will still arrive. Cold, damp, split too thin, and still the crusts come. The mornings no longer carry change. The stale breath of the room greets you the same each day, thick, sour, clinging to your nostrils like the memory of rot. You no longer stretch upon waking. Your limbs unfold slowly, like rope soaked in oil. The joints crack, but there is no release, only pain reshaped into something dull and permanent. You rub your chest where the cough started last week. It has not worsened, but it has not left either. It pulses behind your ribs like a second heartbeat. There are 12 of you now. The bodies packed closer, pressed shoulder to shoulder, rib to rib. 2 more arrived yesterday. Debt, they said. One sold spoons. The other couldn't pay the tax on his cartwheels. They do not speak. They sit together in the far corner, sharing a piece of cloth between them. You haven't asked for names. You won't. It's better that way. You call them the new ones. It's easier to forget that way. The jailer's slot opens later today. You hear the clank, the scrape, the rustle. Bread. 1 whole piece. 2 hands fight for it before it touches the floor. Someone kicks. A cough follows. A cry. Then the loaf vanishes into the crowd. When the scramble ends, you sit still, palms empty. A flake lands near your foot. You bend slowly, pick it up. It's soft, still warm. You place it on your tongue. You do not chew. You let it dissolve, grain by grain. It tastes of mold and lard. You close your eyes. The smell of damp wool fills the room. Someone's coat has begun to rot. It was never washed. Now the collar flakes and the sleeves hang like wet paper. The man wearing it speaks of ships. Always ships. He says he once crossed the sea. You've heard the story 10 times, but you let him tell it again. The rhythm of his voice comforts the silence. He says the ocean was blue. You cannot picture it. You've never seen anything but stone and firelight. You move once during the afternoon, just to shift weight. Your legs have gone numb. You slap your thigh, feel nothing. You press harder. The skin dimples, but the nerves remain quiet. Your toes are gray now. You wiggle them. 2 move, 3 do not. You pull your legs beneath you, hold them close. The warmth they provide is not comfort, only habit. The ceiling drips again. The leak near the boy's old place has spread. Now it reaches your side. You try to catch it in your mouth. It misses, lands on your collarbone. You wipe it away with your sleeve. The fabric leaves grit behind. You scratch absently. Someone speaks in their sleep. A woman's name, repeated, quietly, then nothing. The speaker shifts, groans. You look at him. His face is sunken. A sore blossoms at his lip. He does not wake. You return your gaze to the wall. Its cracks have grown. One forms a line from floor to ceiling. You count the breaks. 17. You touch the stone again. Make another mark with your nail. Your thumb bleeds slightly. You suck it, tasting iron and dust. You wonder if they will count your scratches when you're gone, or if the wall will simply swallow them. There is no wind tonight, no breeze from the slot, only the smell of feet and waste and sickness. You rest your head on your knees. You breathe through your mouth, and still the crusts come. You wake to movement, not light. Light never reaches this far, but motion stirs you. The drag of something soft along the floor, a hand brushing your ankle, the hiss of breath too close to your ear. You flinch, your body coiled from months of habit. It's the man with the ships again. He's crawling now, searching in the dark, mumbling about salt water. His coat has torn fully down the back. You see his spine, a ridge beneath skin pale as boiled fat. He does not seem to notice, or care. You sit upright, back pressed against the wall, legs drawn in. Your hip pops. The sound is sharp, but no one reacts. Sounds mean little here. You stretch your arm toward the basin crack. The water has stopped. The ceiling no longer weeps. You drag your sleeve along the stones. Dry. The cloth makes a sound like paper rubbed against teeth. You haven't tasted anything in 2 days. Not truly. The flake of bread from before lingered only as texture. There's a sourness in your mouth now, a rot behind your gums. You press a finger into the gap where your molar used to be. It sinks slightly. The blood that follows is thick, but not fresh. You smear it on your sleeve. A new stain joins the old. The jailer's voice comes today. Once, a single word. Quiet. It echoes through the corridor like a threat wrapped in cloth. No one was speaking. Perhaps the sounds of coughing annoyed him. Or maybe he heard the shipman moaning. Either way, the slot remains closed. No bread arrives. Hours pass. Someone taps a rhythm on the floor with their toe. It starts slow, then stops. You count the figures in the room. 12 still. No one has died, but one does not move. The old one in the corner, the one with the shaking hands. His chest rises only once every few minutes. You know the signs. Soon he'll stop. Then you'll shift closer to the wall. Claim the warmth that leaves his body. It's the only thing that gets past here without blood. Someone mutters about the king, says his debts are unjust, says he once served in a regiment. His voice grows louder until someone else hisses for silence. Then it all goes still again. You pick at your toenail, find it loose. You press until it lifts from the skin. The pain is clean, brief. You drop it on the floor beside you and watch it vanish into the grime. Outside you hear bells, a cart maybe. Someone cries, "Turn left," in the distance. A market? A festival? You wonder what month it is, what day. The last time you saw a calendar, it was pinned to the jailer's door, covered in ink. A red circle marked something. You don't remember what. You breathe in deeply, try to smell bread. Nothing, just old air and mildew. The stomach growl is distant now, a memory of need. Your body has stopped asking. It only waits. The night comes fast. No change in light, only in sound. The coughs soften. The shuffles stop. The man with the ships lies down beside the body in the corner. He does not touch him, just curls beside him, whispering something about tide. You mark the wall again, with your fingernail. One stroke, shallow. It will not last. You do not care. You close your eyes, head pressed to stone. The world narrows to a smell, a sound, a faint twitch in your leg that does not stop. And still the crusts come. When the body stiffens, it doesn't make a sound. It simply stops taking space. The breath fades. The chest no longer lifts. The man with the ships doesn't move away. He lies beside the corpse like it still breathes, their shoulders almost touching, though not quite. The others pretend not to see. You do too. You press your back tighter to the wall and wrap your arms around your knees. They feel looser than yesterday. The muscle has thinned. The jailer drags the dead man out around mid-morning. He does not look at your faces. He never does. Just enters with a shovel and a rope. Two of the stronger men, the tax cart and the spoon seller, are made to help. They lift the legs. The head thumps once against the threshold. You flinch. The sound is not sharp, just thick, like something wet striking clay. The body leaves a damp outline on the floor. It smells of copper and broth. No one speaks after. You all watch the spot slowly fade. The stain sinks inward. The stones absorb it greedily. You wonder how many others they've swallowed before. You lean forward, trace a finger through the damp. It comes back brown. You wipe it on your ankle. There is no bread again. 2 days now. The jailer hasn't said why. You imagine the kitchens are closed, or empty, or the guards are hungrier than you. You picture them eating in a room full of warmth. Bread soft enough to tear. Bowls of stew, hands clean. You feel nothing, not rage, not envy, only a numbness that spreads like damp cloth. The man beside you, the one who hums sometimes, begins to scratch his arms. Not gentle scratching, tearing. His nails have curled back from malnutrition, but they still claw. His forearms bloom red and raw. He smiles while he does it. A strange, small smile. The kind a child makes while remembering something pleasant. You don't stop him. No one does. He bleeds quietly. You shift onto your side. The hip bone presses into the floor. You count the cracks in the wall. The line you scratched yesterday is fading. You try again. Your nail is too soft now. It bends instead of cuts. You use your tooth. The edge bites into the stone. One more mark. Shallow. But there. The air smells of feet and old smoke. You close your eyes. Behind your lids you picture bread. Not the kind you've seen in weeks, hard, spotted with green, but the kind from before. Warm, soft, with a split crust. You imagine the steam. You imagine holding it with both hands, breaking it apart. You imagine feeding the boy who died. You do not know why. The man with the ships hums now, a low note. He doesn't open his mouth. The sound escapes from his chest, like breath through hollow wood. The others listen, even the bleeder. Even you. You do not sleep that night. Your eyes remain half open, watching the dark. You hear the dripping return. The ceiling weeps once more. The mold patch near your head grows longer. You count your breaths. 34, then 35, then none, and still the crusts come. The next morning brings no sound, no shuffle of feet, no groan of bones waking from cold sleep. Just the soft lap of air through the shutter cracks, the room breathing in rot and letting out silence. You sit upright before you're fully awake, head spinning, spine locked. Your eyes drift across the others. No one moves. The man with the ships lies on his back now, lips parted, eyes half-lidded, as if trying to see something that isn't there. The space beside him is dry. The stain from the corpse has gone. The slot does not open. You stare at it, waiting. Your neck stiffens as you hold the posture too long. Eventually your eyes water. You blink once, twice, then look away. The slot remains shut. There's nothing else to expect from it. You've stopped feeling your stomach. It no longer coils or cries. It's simply there, folded into itself like a knot. Your ribs show now, not like a sculpture, more like scaffolding. Each bone outlined beneath skin pale as wax. You run your fingers along them sometimes just to feel something solid. Your flesh is softer though, like overripe fruit. It yields when pressed, but not from strength, only weakness. A new voice speaks in the corner. A man you haven't heard before. Thin, raspy, as though the words are being pulled from a wet cloth. He says his name is Elias. No one responds. Names don't matter here. He says he was a clerk once, wrote receipts, counted coins. He asks if anyone else was ever trusted with a key. His voice trembles at the word. Then he laughs. The sound breaks halfway through. You stand, just to stand. Your legs shake, but you manage. The world tilts. You steady yourself against the wall. A layer of skin sticks, then peels as you shift. You ignore the sting. Your left foot drags slightly now. You haven't tried walking in days. Your toes scrape across the stone. The floor near the door is wet. You kneel beside it, not from reverence, only routine. You place your hand on the stone. It's warm, not from fire, just the press of so many feet. You lower your head and press your lips to the puddle. It tastes of iron and grease. You drink twice, then crawl back. The man who bleeds from his arms no longer scratches. He just rocks now, his eyes vacant. His shirt has been torn open. Flies circle him. He does not swat them. His mouth moves, but no words come. You stare at him until your vision blurs. Then you look away. You lie down once more. The stone beneath your shoulder is cracked. You press your thumb into the gap. It fits. You leave it there. The pressure calms your breath. You close your eyes and see bread again. This time it's falling. A crust tumbling through the air in slow motion. You reach for it. Your fingers brush the edge. Then it vanishes. Someone coughs. The sound is sharp, sudden. Blood hits the floor. A foot shifts. A groan follows. But no one stands. No one checks. You listen until even that fades. And still the crusts come. The cough that started last night hasn't stopped. It echoes through the room in bursts, rattling like stones in a dry gourd. You keep count, not from worry, but because the sound fills the emptiness. 12 times before dawn. then 9 more by the hour after. You think it's the spoon seller. His breath has grown louder lately, wheezing through cracked lips. When the cough ends, he whimpers, a small sound like a dog that knows no one will come. You shift your weight and feel the damp beneath you. The floor never dries. Your hip has a sore now. It sticks to the stone when you move. You press 2 fingers to the edge. The skin gives way too easily. You stop pressing. There's no rag to clean it. You let it bleed. It warms your thigh for a few moments before cooling again. The slot opens. The noise startles no one. The jailer doesn't speak. A cloth parcel thumps to the floor. No hands reach immediately. Everyone watches. Then slowly, as if uncertain whether it's real, someone crawls forward. Not the strongest, just the closest. They unwrap it. It's bread. 1 piece. Dense. Gray. Bent at one end. A mold patch curls across the crust like smoke. You wait. You've stopped moving toward the bread. The others have stopped expecting you to try. It passes from hand to hand. Torn. Bitten. One man licks the rag afterward. No one fights. There's no strength left for that. No pride either. The man with the ships hasn't spoken in 2 days. His lips are cracked, the corners crusted red. He stares upward now, always. The ceiling leaks again, but the drops avoid him. You wonder if he notices. You doubt it. His hands move sometimes as if rowing. The new man, Elias, writes on the wall with ash. From the hearth, maybe, or the edge of the breadcloth. He draws lines, squares, small letters. He whispers numbers as he writes. You recognize none of it. It doesn't matter. He stops to breathe every few minutes, then continues. The wall will be wet soon. The marks will vanish. Your hands shake now, not from cold, from depletion. Even when you sleep, they tremble. You press them to your chest to still them. The pulse beneath is slow, unsteady. Your breath matches it. Inhale, shudder. Exhale, pause. Repeat. You speak once, a word, bread. It leaves your mouth like dust. No one responds. You don't know why you said it. You haven't spoken in days. The sound feels foreign, too loud. You do not speak again. The boy's old place is still empty. The others won't sit there. You think of taking it, but your body refuses to cross that part of the floor. You glance at it from time to time. The stain is gone, but you remember where it was. The stone still remembers. A rat scurries along the edge, small, bold. It pauses near the breadcloth, sniffs, darts away. No one tries to stop it. You follow its path with your eyes until it disappears beneath the door. The jailer will not notice. He never does. Night arrives unnoticed. The cell grows darker, but no one mentions it. The man who bleeds coughs once, then stops. You close your eyes, hearing only breath and silence, then less breath, then only silence, and still the crusts come. The darkness never lifts, not entirely. Morning arrives as a faint suggestion, a thinning of shadow more than the return of light. You open your eyes and see the same outlines, legs curled to ribs, backs slumped like bags of flour, faces turned toward walls. Everyone breathes, barely. The sound is shallow, wet, like wind brushing over wet stone. You try to sit up, but your spine won't bend at first. You push with your palms, feel grit embed into your skin. The wound on your hip has opened again. The fabric of your tunic clings to it. You pull it away slowly. The blood is dark, not fresh. That's good, maybe. Or maybe it means nothing. You stare at your hand. The fingers are trembling again. The slot doesn't open today. You watch it for hours, eyes fixed on the crack where the light sometimes slips through. Nothing. You hear footsteps above, not near, not descending, just pacing. It could be the jailer, or a child in the courtyard. You wonder if the world outside still eats breakfast. The room smells of mold and flesh. Not death, not yet, but the smell that comes before it. The hum beneath the surface, the prelude. You taste it in your teeth. The sourness of bodies too long pressed together. The yeast of the human condition. Elias writes again. New shapes now, not numbers, just lines, long and curved. He whispers names beneath his breath. Some of them sound real, others are just sound. He stops only to cough, cupping his hand over his mouth. The cloth tied to his wrist is soaked. He doesn't wring it out. He wears it like a badge. You shift closer to the wall. The mold patch has expanded. It reaches almost to the ceiling. The color is darker today, more green than black. It looks soft. You wonder how it would feel under your fingers. You imagine pressing your cheek to it. Cool, damp, comforting in its own way. The man with the ships has stopped moving. He lies flat now, eyes open, mouth closed. His chest rises only occasionally. No one checks on him. No one speaks his name. He never told you anyway. Just stories, half believed, of sails and ropes and distant fire. The bread doesn't come. You don't miss it. The body forgets what it can't depend on. The craving fades, replaced by a dull pressure. Your stomach no longer growls. It contracts instead, like it's trying to become invisible. The man who hums begins again. A low note, repeated. He's not sitting anymore, just swaying, slowly, forehead nearly touching his knees. The sound is soft but present. It echoes slightly. You find yourself matching your breath to its rhythm. It's easier that way. The floor near the door is damp again. A new leak, or an old one returned. You crawl to it, hands first, then knees. Your palms slide slightly. You lower your mouth to the stone, drink what little you can. The taste is metallic, but it soothes the sore at your throat. You sit there afterward, watching the others. No one sleeps anymore, only rests with eyes closed, the body too weak to dream, too aware to surrender. You lean back, pressing your shoulder to the stone. It's cold, solid. You whisper a number to yourself. 73. You don't know what it means. And still the crusts come. The cold is sharper today. It coils around your ankles, seeps through the soles of your feet, rises into your spine like smoke drawn up a flue. You've wrapped your arms around yourself, not for warmth. There is none, but to keep your limbs from trembling apart. The corners of the room look farther away now, as if the cell has grown. Or perhaps you've shrunk. Your back is sore from sleeping upright. The wall has left its shape on your skin, lines and indentations that won't smooth out. You touch one with your fingertips, trace its outline. You wonder how many others have worn this same mark. How many backs have leaned here, waiting, hoping, failing. No bread again. That makes 3 days, maybe 4. You can't recall. The days have blurred into each other, smeared like soot on a window. The slot has remained shut. The jailer hasn't passed. Even the sound of keys is gone. Perhaps they've forgotten you. Perhaps they remember and don't care. Elias no longer writes. He stares now, hands folded in his lap, lips moving without sound. His drawings on the wall have started to fade. The damp has claimed them. What remains looks like bruises, wide, meaningless shapes left behind by thought that has soured. Someone tried to stand. You heard the attempt. A grunt, a scrape, then a body thudding to the floor. No one helped. The man lies there still, face turned to the wall, one arm twisted beneath him. You can see the outline of his ribs pressing against the fabric. They rise and fall too fast. His mouth is open, but no sound escapes. You've bitten the inside of your cheek without noticing. Blood gathers on your tongue. It tastes real, solid. You hold it there as if savoring it, then swallow. It scratches as it goes down, but it is something. You rest your head on your knees again. A spider crosses the floor. You follow it with your eyes. It moves quickly, confidently, avoiding the wet patches and scraps. No one tries to crush it. You watch it disappear into a crack near the hearth. You feel envy rise, then fall. Even the spider has warmth to return to. The man with the ships has closed his eyes. His chest rises only once every few minutes. You watch him between blinks, unsure whether to call him dead. No one else looks. He was part of the room before. He'll be part of the floor soon. A cough breaks the silence, harsh, cracked. It rips through the room like fabric torn by accident. The source is unclear. Perhaps the spoon seller. Perhaps you. The air is too thick now to tell. You breathe through your mouth. Your lips are split again. The light from the shutter doesn't change, but your eyes begin to ache from the dimness. You close them, see nothing. Not memory, not dreams, just black. You keep them shut longer than before. It feels easier. Someone whispers a hymn, a broken one. The words don't follow each other. They fall out in patches. You remember none of it, just the rhythm, the soft, wet consonants. The room listens, then forgets. Your fingers twitch. You try to still them. The motion annoys the skin of your leg. You scratch once, then stop. The scab has broken. Your hand comes away red. You wipe it on your sleeve, and still the crusts come. The light from the shutter has grown weaker, as if the sky itself is tired of looking in. Dust hangs motionless in the air, too heavy to drift. You sit with your back against the wall, legs stretched before you, arms limp at your sides. The weight of your body feels unfamiliar. You shift slightly and feel skin tear at your heel where the damp has softened it. You don't react. Pain now is more like texture, present but without urgency. You hear something in the corridor, not voices, not footsteps, just the shuffle of leather on stone and the slow clink of keys. The jailer, the first sound in days. You do not speak. You watch the slot. You do not hope. The keys stop. A pause. The slot creaks. Something is pushed through. A parcel, wrapped in wax paper already soaked through. No one moves for it. It sits near the door, steaming slightly. The smell of lard and vinegar drifts outward, carried by the cold. Your mouth waters, then dries. A man crawls forward eventually, one you don't recognize. Or perhaps he's been here longer than you remember. He touches the parcel with both hands, slowly, reverently. He unwraps it. Bread, not a whole loaf. A section, round, thick, coated in soot. One edge torn, one edge gnawed. He breaks it slowly. The inside is gray, porous. Green dust clings to the folds. He tears it again, passes a piece to the next man. It goes round, small bites, nothing wasted. You receive your portion last, a piece no larger than your thumb. You hold it in your palm. It is soft in the center, still warm. You eat it, slowly. Let it press into your tongue, dissolve. It tastes of oil and mold. You chew once, twice. Your jaw aches from the motion. You swallow with effort. It scratches going down. You feel it land. The man beside you vomits, silently. The sound is just liquid against stone. His hands tremble as he wipes his mouth with the edge of his sleeve. He does not look ashamed. No one notices. Elias speaks again, just one word. Ledger. He repeats it, then coughs. The sound breaks off halfway. He presses his hand to his chest and begins to mutter again. The drawings on the wall have faded almost completely. Only the deepest marks remain. They resemble roots now, or cracks. You look at your hands. The nails are yellowed. 2 are black beneath the skin. You try to make a fist. You cannot. The fingers fold halfway, then stop. You place them in your lap and rest. The man with the ships is gone. You only realize it hours later. The space where he lay is empty. Not just of him, but of the impression. The stone beneath is clean. The others must have moved him, or the jailer. You missed it. You were blinking too slowly to see. The ceiling above you is darker. A new stain has spread outward from the mold patch. It pulses when you squint. You wonder if it's breathing. You close your eyes. The room sighs once, a sound like a breath let go too slowly. Then silence returns. The man who hums begins again, quieter this time, like memory retold through cracked lips, and still the crusts come. You wake without knowing when you slept. The shift between waking and not has softened so much it barely matters now. Your eyes open to the same shapes, knees folded, backs curved, elbows drawn in like insect limbs. The light through the shutter is the same pale smear across the opposite wall, unchanged for days. Or weeks. You blink once. The crust from yesterday still coats your teeth. You tongue it loose. The grit scrapes your gums. The jailer's keys do not return today. The slot stays closed. There is no noise from the corridor, no laughter from the guards, no barking dog in the yard. The outside has withdrawn. Even the rat has stopped visiting. You wonder if it found a better place to feed. Someone across the room speaks. A woman's name. It comes softly, barely a word. More like a sound breathed out without control. No one answers. The name floats a moment, then breaks against the silence. You close your eyes and picture the shape of a hand, not yours, holding a bowl, passing it forward. You do not remember whose hand. You only remember that it wasn't empty. The man who vomited yesterday hasn't moved since. He lies curled on his side, one arm tucked beneath his chin. His eyes are open. You stare at him until you're sure they don't blink. Then you stop looking. Your tongue is dry, split in one place near the root. Each swallow scratches. You feel the edges of your throat crack further. You want water, but only distantly. Like someone might want music they can't hear. You mouth the word once, water, and hear nothing. The air feels heavier, as though someone poured oil into it and left. Breathing takes effort, not deep, but steady. You manage small sips of air through your nose. Each one burns faintly. A sour staleness you've long stopped resisting. Elias speaks again. 17. He doesn't explain, just says the number, then repeats it. 17. He looks at his wall where the drawings have faded. He touches one spot, presses his forehead to the stone. His knees crack as he kneels. You look at your feet. The toes are curled inwards, stiff with cold. The skin around your nails is blackening, not from rot, just from neglect. You haven't stood in days, or longer. You forget what upright felt like. Gravity means little now. The man who hums has stopped. He just breathes now, lips slightly parted. He leans against another man, both asleep or close enough to it. Their heads touch. There's something tender in the way they press together, like branches blown in the same direction. Someone tries to pass gas. The sound echoes louder than it should. No one laughs. Laughter doesn't belong here. Even mockery feels like work. The sound is just sound, followed by silence again. The room smells worse. The sourness of bile, the dull scent of wet wool and open wounds. You press your nose into your shoulder. It smells no better there. You scratch another mark into the wall with a flake of stone. It breaks halfway through. The line is crooked. You leave it. It's enough. You count the others. 9 clear, 5 fading. The rest blurred by time and hands. Your head dips against your chest. Your breath slows. You do not sleep. You drift. The ceiling blurs. The sound of skin against stone rises, then fades, and still the crusts come. When the rain returns, it does not fall in sheets. It seeps. A thin line down the wall, collecting at the base of the hearth. You see it from your place near the corner, the trickle darkening the stone like ink soaking parchment. It's not loud, just persistent, a slow drip that counts time better than any sun or clock. You watch it form a puddle, then crawl along the cracks toward the sleeping forms. It reaches one bare foot, hesitates, then pools around the heel. You haven't moved in hours. Your spine aches from stillness, not strain. Each vertebra feels separate now, not connected but stacked, as if someone dropped you from above and you settled into your shape. You shift your weight slightly and your shoulder slips along the wall. The damp has softened your skin. It comes away in small flakes. You let them fall. The man who vomited yesterday is dead. No one checked. But he hasn't changed position in 2 days, and the color of his skin has dulled. He smells of copper and soap left too long in a basin. The others know. They've shifted away slowly, not out of fear, just instinct. You remain where you are. The dead don't bite. Elias has stopped speaking. He still sits near the wall, knees drawn, arms folded. His lips move, but no sound escapes. You think he's praying, but the rhythm is wrong. He rocks gently. His back taps the wall in a steady pattern. You time your breathing to it. It helps. The bread did not come today. The slot remains closed, wood swollen with the moisture in the air. You glance at it now and then, but without expectation. The slot is like the moon. Once familiar, now only a pale shape overhead, watched but no longer trusted. The man who hums has started again, though now the melody is broken. Each note interrupts the last, like a cough disguised as a song. His voice cracks near the end of every line. You do not recognize the tune. No one does. It could be a lullaby or a warning. It doesn't matter. Your lips have split again. This time at the corner. A deep crack that opens when you yawn, though you no longer remember why you do. Hunger? Sleep? You lick it instinctively and taste old blood. Your tongue sticks briefly. You don't pull it away. Someone whispers from the far wall. Not to anyone. Just words, spread like seeds into the silence. Coal, they say. Then string. Then soup. Each word alone, like offerings. You listen. You add your own, barely mouthed, soap. It disappears into the dark. The rain continues. The puddle at the hearth has reached the breadcloth, long abandoned. It floats slightly, edges curling like paper burnt at the corner. You remember it once held food. Now it holds water and the shape of something that used to matter. You scratch your ankle. Your fingers come away wet. You smell them. Must. You wipe them on your tunic and close your eyes. You imagine dry stone. You imagine heat. You imagine someone saying your name. And still the crusts come. The rain finally stops sometime in the night, but it leaves behind a wetness that clings to everything. Skin, breath, stone. You wake to the smell of mildew, so thick it coats the back of your throat. The puddle by the hearth has grown stagnant, collecting flakes of skin, scraps of linen, a blackened fingernail. You stare at it for a while, not repulsed, just curious. It has shape now, a presence, like a fifth voice in the room. Elias has collapsed forward. His forehead rests on his knees. His fingers are laced across his ankles. He hasn't moved since dusk. You listen for his breath, but hear only the shifting of someone else behind you, a shuffle of cloth, a moan too soft to belong to the living. You keep still. You've learned not to disturb bodies until they rot. The wall near you has darkened again. The mold spreads upward now, following the seam where mortar meets brick. It looks almost beautiful, a soft green line painted with care. You reach toward it once, just to feel its damp velvet, but stop. It reminds you of something tender, and you're not sure if tenderness should still exist here. The bread slot creaks. It opens without warning, wood grinding against rust. A hand slides in a package, wrapped in cloth already soaked through. No voice, no glance, just movement, then absence. You wait. So do the others. No one rushes. The last time someone rushed, they vomited blood and collapsed. The body was gone by morning. No one claimed the space. Eventually the cloth is opened. Half a loaf, gray and misshapen. The crust is soft. The smell of wet grain drifts across the cell. A piece is torn. Another. You receive yours last, as always. A shard no larger than your thumb. You place it in your mouth and wait. It dissolves into paste before you chew. You swallow it like spit. The man who hums begins again, this time higher, trembling. It breaks halfway through the third note. His lips twitch. His hands tap the rhythm on his thigh. Someone beside him coughs. The sound rattles like dried peas in a bowl. Then silence. You shift your foot. Something breaks beneath it. A beetle, maybe. You don't check. You haven't felt your toes since yesterday. Your heel is swollen, but the numbness has made it tolerable. You draw your legs up slowly, curling into yourself like parchment left too near the fire. Across the room, someone cries. Just once. A low, broken sob cut short. You wait for more, but none comes. No one moves to comfort. That's stopped. Touch is too rare, too risky. You listen for breath, but even that fades quickly. You count the marks on the wall again. 11 are visible. The rest are smears. You press your thumbnail into the stone to add another. The pressure splits the nail. You don't flinch. A line is left behind. Shallow, uneven. It's enough. You lay your head back against the wall. It feels warmer than your skin. The ceiling sways slightly. Or perhaps your eyes do. You close them. In the dark behind your lids, you see a table, a candle, a bowl of something hot. Steam rises. You reach for it. Your hand passes through the image, and still the crusts come. The walls begin to smell like breath. Not fresh, not human, but the kind of breath that hangs in a sealed room too long. Warm, moist, sour. You wake with it in your nose, and it stays even after you turn your head. The others smell it too. You see it in their eyes, the way they squint slightly, as if trying to blink the air away. But there's nowhere else to breathe. Your back aches as always. The floor beneath you has hardened into its usual ridges. You know every crack now. You've mapped them with your fingers in the dark. Some are sharp, some curve like dried veins. You rest your palm on one and feel nothing. The nerves in your hand have grown slow. The bread slot opens without warning. The sound is loud today, louder than usual, or maybe the room is just quieter. The package thumps onto the stone. It lands wrong. One edge touches the puddle, soaking up the edge like cloth pressed to blood. You wait. No one moves. The mold patch in the corner twitches slightly in the draft. Eventually, someone crawls forward. You don't see who. You only hear the shuffle, the rustle of cloth, the tearing. The bread is split. Passed. Hands receive without thanks. Yours, as always, receive last. The piece is smaller than before. You place it under your tongue, let it sit. The taste is sour, faintly sweet, almost like memory. The man who used to hum has gone quiet. He leans now against the far wall, face pressed to brick. His shirt is soaked through, not with water, with something darker. You can't tell if he breathes. No one checks. He's not yet cold. That's all that matters. Elias still rocks. His fingers tap against his ribs now. A slow beat. His lips are dry, cracked in 3 places. He no longer whispers. He mouths shapes that have lost their sounds. You watch his jaw move and think of fish. You do not know why. Someone near the door has soiled themselves. The smell arrives slowly, first as a warning, then as truth. You turn your face into your elbow, but it doesn't help. Your own smell is just as foul. The difference is blurred. You scratch your side. The rash has spread. The skin is hard. Beneath it, soft. You close your eyes, just for a while. The sounds shift. You hear a drip, then a moan, then nothing. You open them again. The mold has reached the ceiling's edge. It casts a long shadow in the faint light, like fingers reaching downward. You trace the line with your eyes until you feel dizzy. A mouse scurries along the base of the wall, thin, ragged. It stops, sniffs the bread parcel, then darts away. You almost envy it, not for its freedom, but for its appetite. You lean your head back again. It thuds gently against the brick. The vibration settles into your jaw. You count your breath. 1, 2, 3. Then the gap grows too wide to count. You let it stretch. The air thickens again. Night is coming. The room breathes slower. One by one, the sounds diminish. The coughing fades. The shuffling ceases. The slot remains closed. And still the crusts come. By morning, 3 have not moved. One lies near the hearth, legs pulled to his chest like a child. Another slumped against the back wall, head fallen forward, hair matted with filth. The third is at the center, curled over the empty breadcloth, one arm stretched out as if reaching for something that was never there. No one touches them, not because of fear, but because there is nowhere else to move them. The bodies stay where they fall now. The room has learned to shrink around them. You blink slowly. Your eyes have grown sticky. The lashes catch against each other when you close them too long. You wipe them with the edge of your sleeve. The cloth rasps against your skin. You leave a smear behind. Yellow, thick. You think it might be infection. You don't check again. The wall is wet again. Not from rain. The rain stopped days ago, but from within. Dampness seeps from the brick itself, sweating like skin left too long under blankets. You place your hand against it. It feels alive. Not warm, not beating, just present. Like another body in the room, watching. The bread does not come today. The slot stays closed. The shutter doesn't shift. You stare at the door anyway, just for something to look at. Your eyes follow the outline of the wood, the grain, the cracks. There's a stain beneath the slot now. Dark, long, like something dragged. Elias breathes unevenly. He lies on his side, curled into himself, mouth half open. His chest rises, falls, then stutters. His hands twitch at his sides like he's grasping at air. You hear a word, entry. Then silence. His eyes remain shut. Your stomach cramps, not with hunger. That feeling passed long ago. This is something slower, a twisting that never tightens fully, just enough to remind you that your body still wants, still waits. You place your hand on your abdomen. The bones press against your palm. Someone near the corner begins to sob. quiet, shallow sounds. You don't turn to look. Crying is rare now. The effort needed to weep is more than most can spare. The sound fades quickly. You think it may have been the boy with the burn on his cheek. Or maybe the man who came last week. The one who traded a button for a scrap of rind. You scratch your leg. The rash has spread. Blisters now, small, raised, full of fluid. You press one. It breaks. You smear the liquid across your shin, watch it vanish into the skin. It itches more afterward. You ignore it. The smell in the room has deepened. Less human now. More like wood left too long underwater. The kind of scent that clings to clothes no matter how much they're washed, if they're ever washed again. You try breathing through your mouth. The taste is no better. You scratch another mark into the wall, this time lower. Your fingers are too weak to reach above your head. The line is faint, uneven. It blends with the mold that creeps along the surface. Soon you think the wall won't need your scratches. It will remember on its own. Night comes early. The air thickens. A foot brushes yours in the dark. You do not pull away. The contact is brief, accidental, but it reminds you are not alone. And still the crusts come. The cell no longer smells of people. It smells of damp earth, of slow rot, of breathless linen. You wake without sensation in your arms. They've fallen asleep beneath you again. You shift slightly, try to restore blood to the fingers. They tingle, then burn. The pain is brief, fades quickly, like everything now. The 3 bodies from yesterday remain untouched. No one has moved them. They've stiffened into the shapes they died in. One with hands clenched to his chest, one with open eyes staring upward, and one collapsed mid-crawl, face turned toward the door as if still pleading for bread. You've learned to sit without looking at them directly, just enough to avoid their outlines. The mold above you has darkened. Its green hue has deepened into something closer to blue, almost metallic in the faint light. You wonder if it's poisonous. You breathe it anyway. It's in your throat now. You cough once, dry and shallow. A smear of blood touches your tongue. You swallow it. The slot doesn't open. You no longer expect it to. You've stopped counting the days between feedings. Time has unspooled into something thin and useless, like thread pulled too tight. You stare at the same corner for hours, waiting for nothing. Your thoughts wander, then return always to the ache in your spine and the weight in your chest. Elias no longer speaks. His body is there, curled and unmoving, but his mind has gone elsewhere. He twitches in his sleep when sleep comes. His lips flutter, dry as parchment. You see them shape something, maybe numbers, maybe prayers. You never hear the words. The man who used to hum hasn't breathed since morning. His skin is turned yellow near the jaw. His shirt has soaked through beneath his back. No one moves him. No one cries. He leans against the wall, still upright like he's just resting. But you know, a new leak has opened near the center of the ceiling. It falls in slow, rhythmic drops. Each one lands with a soft plink in the puddle beside the breadcloth, now more rag than linen. The drops form concentric ripples that shimmer faintly in the light from the slit above. You count them. 12, 13, 14. Then you forget the number and begin again. Your fingers tremble as you scratch your arm. The skin flakes like old paint. Beneath, a red patch blooms. You press your palm against it. Feel the heat radiating. Fever. It's not new. You've had it before. It never stays long. Just long enough to confuse the dreams. The room is quieter than usual. Even the coughing has stopped. You glance around. The ones who remain are barely moving. Breathing but shallow. Waiting. Not for food. Not for escape. Just for the next inch of night. You close your eyes. Behind the lids, you see fire. Not warm, not bright. Just the idea of fire. A memory. A thing once held. You reach toward it, but your fingers curl before they can stretch. You let them rest in your lap. Someone whispers your name. Or maybe not. It's been too long since anyone said it. You keep your eyes closed. You don't answer. And still the crusts come. The sky outside must be gray. You can't see it, but the light filtering through the shutter is the color of soot and bone. It doesn't warm. It doesn't brighten. It only marks the difference between not night and not day. You blink against it, lids sticking slightly, and look across the room. No one has moved. The stillness is complete now, like the hush before a bell tolls. Except there are no bells here, only breath when it comes. You attempt to stretch. Your body refuses. Your spine creaks but does not bend. Your arms feel hollow, as though the muscle has been scooped out and replaced with damp straw. You rotate your wrist slowly. A tendon snaps like thread beneath the skin. You let your hand fall into your lap. It lands without sound. The bread doesn't come. You've stopped expecting it. Still, your eyes flick to the slot now and then. Instinct, not hope. The last time it opened, there was nothing inside. Just air, thick with vinegar and soot. The jailer had stood there a moment, then closed it. No explanation, no voice. One of the corpses has begun to bloat. The man who died mid-crawl. His back has lifted slightly, as if something beneath the skin is pushing outward. A dark patch has formed at his hip, wet and pulsing. You can smell it now, not sharply. Just a dull sweetness, like fruit gone too long in heat. You breathe through your sleeve, but the cloth offers little help. The smell settles in your mouth like a taste. Elias moans softly in his sleep. Or what you assume is sleep. His head tilts back, exposing the neck. You can count each line of bone there, each shadow of tendon. He breathes in through cracked lips. Each breath is sharp. He coughs once. Something comes up. He does not open his eyes. The sound of dripping has returned. The ceiling above has begun to weep again. This time it's brown. Not rust, not dirt. Something else. The water trails down the corner, staining the stone a deeper shade. You follow it with your eyes, then close them. The pattern plays behind your lids like memory. You see a loaf, brown, round, steaming, a real one. Your hands are whole in the vision, not trembling. You tear it in two. The smell hits first. Grain, smoke, salt. You raise a piece to your mouth. Then your vision shifts. The bread crumbles to dust in your hands. Your fingers dissolve with it. You wake coughing. A voice speaks, clear, from across the room. "How many now?" it says. You can't see who asked. No one answers. The voice fades. The question lingers. You count the breathing bodies. 5, maybe 6. The rest are shapes now. Folded things in corners and along walls. The cell has become a mouth. It chews slowly. You reach out toward the puddle near your feet. The surface shivers at your movement. You dip your fingers in. The water is cold. Not clean, but cold. You bring your fingers to your lips. It tastes like stone and iron. You drink anyway. It soothes the throat for a moment. That is enough. Night comes again. You know this not from the light, but from the heaviness in your limbs. Your thoughts begin to blur at the edges. You curl inward, eyes fixed on the shutter. It does not move, and still the crusts come. The night has no beginning. It bleeds into itself without line or warning. You open your eyes and realize they were never fully closed. The dark has weight now. It sits on your chest, pressing you into the floor. You breathe slowly to keep from sinking further. The air is colder, but it doesn't touch your skin. You've gone beyond shivering. Across the cell, someone mumbles. A name, perhaps, or a prayer. Their voice is slurred, thick with sleep or sickness. It fades quickly. The silence that follows is not quiet. It hums, a low vibration of breath, stone, rot. You close your eyes again. Behind them, the image of a window floats, a real one, with glass, with light beyond it. The window flickers once, then darkens. The mold above you has grown. It spreads in rings now, like water moving through fabric. It smells faintly of yeast. You breathe it in. It doesn't burn. It comforts. A reminder that something here is still alive, even if it feeds on the dead. Elias no longer moans. His mouth hangs open, but nothing moves behind it. His chest doesn't rise. His legs have stiffened. One arm is still folded over his ribs, fingers curled into the shape of prayer or grasping. You don't know which. You stare at the fingers, wonder if they ever held ink, if he once gripped a pen the way he now clutches air. Your stomach cramps again. The feeling is different now, not hunger but emptiness stretched too far, like leather pulled tight over nothing. You press your palm to your belly. It makes no sound. You think of bread, not to eat, just to hold, the texture of the crust, the weight of it. You flex your fingers and feel nothing. A cough startles you, wet, guttural. Someone near the door. The sound echoes once, then is swallowed by the walls. You hear a shuffle, then stillness. No one calls out. No one moves to help. You've forgotten how to offer anything. The slot doesn't open. It hasn't in days or weeks. You try to remember the last time bread entered this place. The memory is vague. A smear of brown, a sound of tearing, the smell of sour flour. You taste it on your tongue, faint, imagined. You count the bodies again, not the living, just those still breathing. 4, maybe 5. One shape near the hearth doesn't move anymore. Its limbs are twisted strangely, head tucked beneath the arm. You wonder if they were trying to sleep that way, or if they simply collapsed. The puddle near your feet has shrunk, evaporated maybe, or drunk by someone braver. You reach out, fingers brushing stone, dry. You bring them to your mouth anyway, tasting the grit. It grinds against your teeth, then melts. You hear something in the corridor, a scrape, then quiet. Not footsteps, just the shift of wood. The others hear it too. You see the tilt of heads, the lifting of eyes, then nothing. The sound doesn't return. The slot stays shut. You lie down again. The stone welcomes you. You nestle into it, bones fitting into grooves worn by time and others. Your breath slows. You press your face to your arm. The cloth is stiff. It smells of you, or of what you were. And still the crusts come. The air doesn't move anymore. It's as if the room has sealed itself shut, breathing only what it has already exhaled. You open your mouth to taste something fresher, but it's the same breath you've been living in for weeks, heavy with salt, mildew, and decay. The smell of death has settled into every surface. It clings to your clothes, your hair, your fingernails. You can't remember what clean air feels like. You no longer expect to. The bodies now outnumber the living. 5 for certain, maybe 6. One man lies face down in the corner and no one has dared to approach. You assume he's gone. His back hasn't moved. A line of ants crawls from beneath his shoulder to the gap in the floor. You watch them work. They are purposeful, efficient. Their lives are simple. Your spine is stiff. You try to turn, but your side sticks to the floor where your sweat dried and left a salty crust. When you finally peel away, your skin tears. A strip comes off with your tunic. You look at it briefly, then drop it beside you. It lands silently. You don't bleed much anymore. Elias's body was moved during the night. Not by the jailer, he hasn't returned, but by someone else in the room. They dragged him to the side, folded his limbs, and laid a rag over his face, not for respect, just to lessen the smell. The rag is brown and stiff. You don't know where it came from. You haven't spoken in days. Your throat is too dry, your voice too far gone. The last sound you made was a groan when your knee seized in the night. Even that felt like too much. You've begun to communicate with glances, a look toward the puddle, a shift of eyes toward the cloth, a raised brow when someone breathes louder than expected. Language is still here. It's just quiet now. Someone hums again, not the same tune, not the same man. A new rhythm, slow and unsteady. It rises and falls like breath, sometimes disappearing entirely, then returning as if from memory. You close your eyes and let it guide your heartbeat. It's not soothing, but it's something, a thread. You reach for the wall beside you. The mold is close now, just inches from your shoulder. You run your fingers along the edge. It's damp and cool. Your skin leaves trails in it, like lines drawn in ash. You press your palm to it and leave a full print. You stare at it for a long time. A fly buzzes near your ear. You swat lazily, but it dodges easily. It lands on your cheek. You don't swat again. Its legs tickle slightly, then stop. You leave it there. It stays for a while before flying off. You feel its absence. The slot opens. Not all the way. Just a crack. No food. Just the sound of someone breathing on the other side. Then a cough. Then nothing. The slot shuts again. No explanation. No word. Just absence returning. The room grows quiet once more. You lie back down. The stone is familiar now, like bedding. It holds you without judgment. Your arms curl to your chest, your hands folded like prayer. You stare at the ceiling, waiting for it to fall. And still the crusts come. The heat in the room has changed. It no longer rises from bodies or breath. It seeps from the stone itself, thick and wet. The walls sweat. The floor glistens. Even your own skin weeps without prompting. You lie still, listening to the slow drip from the ceiling, counting the seconds between each fall. There is no rhythm, only waiting. Each drop lands somewhere out of view, lost in folds of cloth or the crevice between bricks. Your eyes itch. You resist the urge to rub them. The last time you did, something flaked away. Not dirt, not skin, something else. You've stopped trying to name what leaves your body. The definitions have all blurred. Blood becomes oil, saliva becomes glue, tears become salt that dries and burns. Someone is breathing near you. Slow, rough, wet. It's not comforting. It's too close, too uncertain. You do not turn to look. You don't want to know who still lingers. It's easier to pretend they all blur into one body, one shape, one sound. The slot didn't open again. It hasn't in days, or longer. The wood has grown darker around the edges, soaked by the damp. You wonder if it will ever open again, if it matters. The hunger has dulled to something quieter than thought, like a dull ache in an old tooth, long since hollowed out. Elias is gone now. The cloth that once covered his face has fallen. Someone stepped on it, maybe, or the air moved it. His eyes are open again. One stares at the ceiling. The other has clouded. You don't look long. You don't need to. The shape is familiar. The pose, the stillness. Your feet are numb. You haven't stood in days. The bones in your legs feel loose, unhinged. You try to wiggle your toes. Nothing. You slap your calf lightly. No response. You place your hand there. The skin is cold, damp, like meat kept too long in shade. A voice speaks, weak. barely more than a whisper. "Bread," it says. Then a pause. Then, "Please." The words hang for a moment, like mist, then dissolve. No one answers, not even the air. The mold now touches your elbow. It reached overnight. You feel it when you shift, a velvet dampness brushing your skin. You don't pull away. It's not unpleasant. It has a texture that's more real than anything else left here. You close your eyes and try to remember something. A table, a meal, a name. None of them come. Only a sound, the crack of crust splitting beneath a knife. A laugh, maybe. Yours, someone else's. It doesn't matter. The room breathes around you. The walls stretch and sigh. A cough breaks the silence, then a grunt, then nothing. Someone moves, a limb dragging, a knee scraping. Then stillness returns, heavier than before. You touch your face. The cheekbone juts now. Your fingertips glide over hollows where once there was flesh. You trace the ridge of your jaw, feel the skin split beneath the nail. You press harder. Pain flares. It feels good. It means you're still here. And still the crusts come. There is a sound in the corridor this morning. You do not move when you hear it. It's distant, muffled. The drag of something heavy, the scrape of a bucket or a boot. It might be the jailer, or someone else. It doesn't matter. Nothing that moves out there comes in here anymore. You stare at the slot, but it remains closed. The wood swells slightly from dampness, bowed outward like a bruise. Your body aches, but faintly, more like a ghost of pain, not sharp enough to matter. You curl your fingers inward and feel the skin stretch too tight. The nails have yellowed completely. One falls off when you brush it. You look at it lying beside you. It's curved and pale, like a scale shed from something no longer human. You leave it there. The man with the rasping breath is gone. His corner is quiet now. No more coughing, no more restless shifting. His body hasn't been moved, but the sound has ended. And in this room, silence is confirmation. One less rhythm, one more still shape. The mold touches your shoulder now. It has grown across the entire wall, a thick, blooming mass that breathes with the room. You run your hand along its surface gently. It gives under your fingers like flesh, moist, alive. It smells of yeast and rot. Not unpleasant, just absolute. It is the only growing thing in this place. A cough breaks the quiet. Not yours. Weak. One burst, then gone. You listen for more, but none follows. You imagine the sound echoes in the corridor, carries past empty cells. You wonder if there are others still waiting behind other doors, if they've also learned to stop speaking. The puddle near the breadcloth has dried. All that remains is a gray stain in the shape of a leaf. Someone has stepped on it. The print is small. You look at your own foot. Larger. So it was someone else. You don't remember who. Maybe the boy with the torn sleeve, or the woman with the swollen jaw. You can't be sure they were ever here. Your breath tastes of rust. Your tongue has grown thick. You chew on it sometimes just to feel movement in your mouth. Your teeth are loose. The back ones rattle slightly when you swallow. You press your thumb against one. It wobbles but does not fall. Elias has started to smell. His ribs show through the cloth now, fabric worn thin over bones. The insects found him first. You see them come and go, purposeful, efficient. They know what remains, the living less so. A shadow crosses the slot. For a moment you think it might open, but it doesn't. The shadow fades. Someone passed by. A figure, a leg, a sleeve. You stare at the slit, your eyes dry and wide. Nothing happens. You turn your head back toward the wall. The mold is growing into the corner. You scratch another line beside your leg. The mark is shallow. The stone is softer now, or your nail duller. Either way, the scratch barely holds. You lean your head back and close your eyes. The inside of your eyelids flickers red for a moment, then black, and still the crusts come. The silence today is different, not deeper. There is no deeper here, but older somehow, like something that has waited too long. You feel it in your chest before you notice it in the room. A tightness, not pain, more like an inward folding, as though your ribs are wrapping inward to keep the last breath from escaping. You cough once, but the sound barely rises. Your throat is dry. The cough is more gesture than function. You open your eyes to find the mold at your feet. It has crept across the floor now, inching through the cracks, feeding on the moisture, the skin, the fragments of cloth left behind. It is quiet in its conquest. Green turning gray, then black. It pulses in one corner, a living stain. You don't fear it. You wonder if it will reach your hands before the end. The jailer hasn't returned. The slot remains shut. The wood has begun to crack in places, splitting like old bone. You can see fibers curling at the edge. There's no sound in the corridor anymore. Even the scrape of buckets has stopped. Perhaps the building is empty now. Perhaps they've all gone and left you here, with the mold and the dead and the soft thump of water from above. Elias's body has slumped. His knees are still folded, but his head has fallen to the side. A fly rests in the socket of one eye. You watch it clean itself, rubbing legs over wings. It moves without fear. The living no longer frighten it. Your own hands look wrong now. The skin has lost color, dulled to the shade of old wax. You turn one palm upward and see the bones just beneath, the tendons tight like rope. You try to move your fingers and manage only a twitch. It is enough to prove you're not finished. Not yet. Someone makes a sound, a low, wet sigh. You can't see who. It might be the woman who sleeps near the wall, the one with the stained apron. She hasn't spoken in days. Once she whispered something about her mother's garden. Now she sleeps, or something like it, mouth slack, breath thin. The ceiling drips again. A steady rhythm, but the spot has moved. The new leak lands beside your head, each drop a soft pat against stone. You shift slightly, turn your face away, let it collect in the hollow behind your ear. The water is cold. It wakes a nerve there and you twitch. A reminder. You close your eyes and listen. Not to the room, not to the others, but to your own body. The slow beat of your heart, the faint rasp of lungs. You count each movement. You get to 8 before losing the rhythm. You start again. You remember bread, the shape of it, not the taste, the way it felt in your hand, the weight, the heat. You remember holding it against your cheek on cold mornings. You try to summon the scent, fresh crust, cracked grain, but nothing comes. Only the mold now, and the sound of skin peeling from stone. You draw a new mark with your thumb. No nail left, just flesh. It doesn't leave a line, just a smear. You wipe it away, then draw again. And still the crusts come. The night seeps in like rot through wet linen. It doesn't fall. It spreads, slipping into corners already too full of shadow. You open your eyes to darkness and know it's still early. The heat that once rose from bodies has thinned. The cold moves in like a second skin. You feel it settle behind your knees, beneath your arms, along your spine where the tunic no longer covers. The damp turns rigid in the folds of your clothes. You lie still and let it soak. Your mouth is dry, not from thirst, which has dulled into a background ache, but from disuse. You haven't spoken in days. The muscles in your jaw have stopped remembering how. You stretch it now, slowly, and feel the tightness resist. Your lips crack. You taste iron. You suck the blood quietly, letting it coat your tongue. It's thicker than you expect. You swallow it without effort. A cough breaks the dark. It's low, hoarse, drawn from somewhere deep. Not yours. It's followed by a ragged breath, then silence. You wait. Another breath comes. Not steady, but there. You exhale in response, not to speak, just to affirm. Someone else remains. The mold has crossed the room entirely now. A broad path of green-gray stretches wall to wall, climbing bodies and baskets, trailing across the legs of the dead and the nearly dead. You don't recoil. You've accepted it. It doesn't hurt. It doesn't ask. It only covers. The woman with the apron has not moved. Her head rests against the base of the wall. Her hands are clasped in her lap, stiff. She's begun to bloat, like the others before her. Her apron has darkened. A tear splits it from hip to hem. You see skin beneath, pale, cracked, spotted. You look away. The bread slot hasn't opened in a week, or two, or longer. You still glance at it each morning, just once. Not for hope, only habit. The wood is warped now. A curl forms at one edge. Something might live inside the crack. You once saw a spider disappear there, but nothing comes through. You shift your weight, and something beneath you breaks. A beetle, or a bone. You don't look. You roll onto your side, press your arm under your head. The position is wrong, but you keep it. Your shoulder screams, then stops. The pain doesn't last anymore. Only the sound of your breath, slower each day. You touch your chest. The bone is sharp now. Beneath it, your heart moves irregularly, fast, then slow, then still. You wait for it to return. It does. You count. 6 beats. Then a pause. Then 7. You press harder as if urging it to stay. A voice mutters in the far corner. You recognize nothing. Just noise. A word, maybe. Then quiet again. The muttering stops. The voice does not return. You imagine someone speaking to a dream. You envy them. You reach for the wall again. The stone is slick. Your fingers trace lines already fading. You scratch a new one, low, just above the floor. It's shallow. Your strength is gone. Still, it marks. For now. You close your eyes. Behind them, nothing stirs. Not even memory. Only a dull shape. Wide, round, soft. The suggestion of bread. You open your mouth, but nothing fills it. And still the crusts come. The morning does not arrive. The dark remains. Maybe the sun has risen beyond the walls, but no trace reaches you now. The slit above the shutter is clogged with dirt, or mold, or ash. You stare toward it anyway, waiting for something to change. It never does. You blink slowly. The lids scrape dry against your eyes. You let them close again. Your breath is shallow. It no longer fills the chest. It hovers, barely entering, barely leaving. You wonder if it will stop. Not from fear, just curiosity. What happens when the air no longer wants to enter you? Will it feel like silence, or like the wall, steady, unmoving, indifferent? The cell has stopped speaking. No coughs, no whispers, no shifting of limbs. You can't tell who still breathes. You no longer try. The dead and the nearly dead are the same now. Bodies folded in corners, arms askew, heads bowed as if in prayer. The room has taken them gently, one by one. Even the flies move slower. You shift your arm. It feels distant. Not heavy, not painful, just remote. As if it belongs to someone else. You lay it across your chest. The heartbeat beneath is weak. A flutter, like cloth caught on a branch. You press down, gently. The pressure comforts you. The mold has reached your legs. It touches the hem of your tunic, spreads along the weave. You feel the dampness climb. It doesn't chill. It numbs. You welcome it. The color blends with the cloth. Soon it will cover everything. The bread hasn't come. You don't expect it. You barely remember it. You try to recall the shape, the weight, the first tear. You picture fingers pulling a crust apart, the steam, the soft inside. Your mouth doesn't react. Your jaw remains still. Hunger has become something quieter than thought. Your hands rest on your stomach. The bones beneath are sharp. You press lightly. The skin dips inward, a bowl, a hollow space. You close your eyes and imagine it full, not of food, of earth. Damp soil packed tight, heavy, final. A sound stirs in the corridor, a door far away, then nothing. Then the soft click of a key. You don't lift your head. The slot groans open. You hear the movement of something falling, a small shape, a thud, then footsteps, fading. You turn your eyes slowly. The cloth lies where it always did, damp, frayed. It holds something round, pale. You do not crawl toward it. You do not stretch your hand. You only watch. The others do not move. The crust lies untouched. The room does not reach. The silence deepens. You let your head fall back. The wall cradles it. The stone is warm, or your fever is high. You blink once more, then hold your eyes closed, and still the crusts come.